that's deep, you know. I ask a lot of deep questions, and I'm like, I don't like small talk. And I don't. It's like I like to talk about things that matter to me, you know, the things that really matter, and get down to the nitty-gritty of a person's soul. I know it's strange probably for someone you just met, but just kind of figure out, you know, who they are. And I do the same with other people. So I think that I'm different that way, but I love Periscope, so I'll stop gushing about it now and move on with the show. Anyway, so tonight we're talking about Caitlyn Jenner and the movie Trainwreck. First, I'll talk about Trainwreck real quick. Well, first I'll talk about Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner, as you know, was once Bruce Jenner, and you know, there's been a lot of brouhaha about him, and before he came out as Caitlyn, and she's been sort of she's been all over the media, just exploded in the media once that Vanity Fair cover came out where we saw what she looks like. Of course, she looks, I think, amazingly beautiful, and of course anybody wouldn't Versace, and who's tall and thin like she is, but she looked really amazing, and the makeup was perfect, and the hair was perfect, and professionally done, and all these different shots inside the magazine, and professional everything, right? So of course she looked great, and she just looks great. But anyway, I didn't know much about what her personality was like, because I had never really, I mean, I remember Bruce Jenner when I was a kid, you know, he's a big star and everything else, you know, even in the 80s, and he was on my Wheaties box, I think, when I was like a kid or whatever. So, I mean, I remember him being a huge icon of, you know, of sports and, you know, the Olympics and everything else. And I always looked to him as someone who had achieved a lot, and he did. But I didn't really know anything about his personality, and apparently that's the way he was with everyone, even as close to him as life, like his mother and his sisters and his families. He was always hiding something. He was always hiding the fact that he was transgender, and he had spoken, apparently, anyway, on the show we discovered that he had spoken to his sister, one of his sisters, like 35 years ago, like 1980 or something, about the fact that he was transgender, and she advised him not to let it come out because it would ruin his career and blah, 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 and he was afraid to, so he didn't come out until just now. And so it's not like something it just came about. People are like always saying, you know, wow, you know, people are going to be, you know, he just came out of no fucking where. He just came out of nowhere. He's just all of a sudden he's a tranny or something. And I think that the reality is that he's been, I don't think it, I mean, he's been a transsexual since he was since he was a kid. I mean, since he was born or whatever. So it isn't just, even though it seems to us like it was just a sudden realization, it wasn't at all that. It was actually something that he has felt his entire life. He talks about that on the show, or she does, I should say. And so when on the show you see how she talks about that, the transition she's trying to make and everything else, and kind of just discovering who she wants to be. But one of the things that people had really sort of made a big deal of about Caitlyn Jenner was she's just selling out, and she's a Kardashian, and she's just using this platform to get rich or whatever. I mean, she's already rich, first of all, so she doesn't need the money, or to get publicity. I never felt that way, but I have friends on Facebook who feel that way and actually do think that. And I think, though, however, you know, I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt and see her show and see where she was coming from, and hear from her own words what she was doing and why she was doing this. And the truth is, I think that her motives are perfectly altruistic and on the right page. I do not think that she, by any means, is doing this for publicity. In terms of, you know, to get back on the map or whatever. She was already in the map just before she even became Caitlyn. I think that she's doing this because she wants to help. As she says in the show, she wants to help people. She doesn't know what she needs to do that, and so she's researching what she needs to do. She's meeting with parents, as she does in the show, parents of transgender children, who are that have committed suicide, that killed themselves, and she asks them, "What can I do to help, prevent this from happening again?" Because it is an epidemic, honestly, especially among transgender teenagers, whom have a 9 times likelihood of killing themselves, suicide, than of other teenagers or adults. So it is an epidemic, and I'm sure you've seen in the news and everything how many we've already lost over the past just a few years now. It's just like almost every other week or so you see someone in the news saying transgender so and so died, transgender child or teen died or killed themselves or whatever, or was murdered or whatever. And so it is something that needs to be addressed, and she's trying to use this platform to address that issue, as well as education for people who don't understand transgender, what being transgender is, why people are transgender, and how to best deal with people who are transgender. And she's using her platform for that. I think it's fucking amazing, a great thing, and that's what you should do. When you have a great power, the great power of having a platform and a voice that the entire nation and or world listens to, I think it is incumbent upon you to use it to speak out on causes that are important to you. And of course, the causes that are important to her are transgender rights, etc. So of course, she's going to do that, and that's what she's done. She also has, of course, a daughter, Caitlyn Jenner, and she has a son, Rob, and of course, what's her face, Kim. Oh, and Kim Kardashian and Kanye are on the show, which is so weird to me to even see them. First of all, I've never seen one episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Literally, I've never seen one episode, not one. So I have no idea, other than what the media puts out about these people, what they're like and about. I don't know. I mean, my impression of them is that they're fame-hungry people who make money off of their fame for having done nothing really. That's what I feel about the Kardashians, and especially the mom, Kris Jenner, is just like like uber monster, crazy egomaniacal, let's make as much money as we can, get as much fame as we can type of a chick. That's what I think about them. That's just my impression of them. But I don't know. I've never seen their show. Maybe they're deeper than they seem to be. So I think so. But anyway, just seeing she and Kanye West, who are these two icons of pop culture, on I Am Cait was just very weird to me, and seeing them in her house and seeing them talk to her and try to just relate like a normal family would, it just really was weird. And what's his name? Kanye seemed totally like uncomfortable and like out of place, and Caitlyn even says in an aside on the show, she says, well, Kanye and I have never really been that close, but I think that now that I'm Caitlyn, I think that maybe that has changed or something, so maybe they're getting closer as a result of it. But that's the thing you need to take away from it, I think, is that being what's happened, this is what happened, this is true for every one of us, and I know this for a fact as well. I went through my own charade when I was in my teen years about some things that I was, because I was so insecure about who I was. And so I think that it's important for you to realize, and this applies to all of us, once you become who you are, and whomever that is, whatever that is, there's nothing anyone can say about you to tear you down. It's only when you're hiding those things and being something that you're not, and being fake or pretending to be someone you're not, that can happen and that can harm you. Because you have power in being who you are and liking who you are. Being someone else, there is no power, because it's all built on lies and being fake. So I think it's important for people to realize that's why she is now kind of coming out of her shell, and she's finally feeling free to be herself. And of course, that's understandable. So I think it's great. I think it's a great show. It actually was very touching. The show was very touching. I was surprised it would be touching, but it really was. And it really was a true, I think, representation of what it means to be transgender. And I don't know if any of you have seen the show Transparent on Amazon. I talked about it last year when it came on Amazon. I watched the whole thing. I binge watched it in like a day, maybe two. And it's such a fucking amazing show. And essentially, Transparent is basically Caitlyn's life, essentially. I mean, not exactly, but I mean, you know, it's the same age range. The guy's the same age, basically, and his kids, you know, his kids, and he had a wife and everything else, and had to divorce her just because he came out as being transgender and always knew he was. It's a fucking amazing show. So if you're into Caitlyn, or I Am Cait, you can get into Transparent, the show on Amazon, which you can buy on Amazon or watch on Amazon Prime if you have that. So check it out. But yeah, Caitlyn, I Am Cait, great show. Definitely check it out. I highly recommend it. I'm excited to see how the rest of the season unfolds. So that's that. The other thing is, my husband and I went. Hold on a second. We went to see. Went to see Trainwreck last night, and Trainwreck was really good. It started off kind of slow for me and kind of mediocre-ish, you know, but it was kind of setting up the rest of the show with the second half of the movie. And although it was so funny, it wasn't like, ha, 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 laugh out loud funny, but it was funny. But it really was a good movie. I mean, of course, it was written by and produced by Amy Schumer. And I've been watching Amy Schumer forever since, you know, her show came on like 3 seasons ago on Comedy Central. And I've always loved her. I think she's awesome and she's intelligent. And she's all about satire, essentially. That's what she does, right? And so this movie was the same to some degree. But anyway, it was just really good. And it was not just funny, but it was heartfelt. And it was incredibly intelligent in a lot of ways and unexpected in some. And she got to actually be both vulnerable and show her dramatic acting skills, which she's never been able to do because this is her first movie, and also her comedic skills as well. And I think she's got a good, bright future coming her way. Hi, Jay Peterson, in the chat room. Hello. So I think it's really incredible movie and a really good movie, and it made me tear up a little bit because I'm a sap, you know, I'm very sentimental. But it was really good. If you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it. But because of this movie, I was thinking about how people's lives, and essentially it's also someone being afraid and you know, to be themselves and afraid to actually allowing fear to control their life. And of course, that same lesson can be applied towards Caitlyn Jenner and anyone who's transgender or gender fluid or you know, cisgender, whatever. I think it applies to anybody, gay, straight, whatever, who wants to be something that isn't considered to be the norm. And I think, so I wanted to talk about that as well, and the fact that if you're lying, right, in some way or the other, if you consider it to be, you have to kind of ask yourself why. You know, what is it about your life that is keeping you from achieving the things you want to achieve, whether it be professionally or in romance or whatever it might be. I think it's incredibly important to not be afraid, because I know, and I've told this to so many people who are younger than me, on Periscope all the time. I'm telling people this all the time. You know, I'm older. I'm 40 now, and most of them are like in their mid to late 20s. I'd say in that range. There are 30-year-olds, there are 40-year-olds occasionally, but I'm saying generally the age range is generally like, I don't know, like younger, like 19, 20 to like early mid 30s. I'd say that's the main range I've encountered on there. And you know, they're asking my advice on this and that, or whatever, or I give it to them. And I always tell them, you know, you're young, you know, you're 21, 24, whatever. Whatever it is you want to do in life, whether it's professionally or love or romance, whatever it is, do it without fear. And I have got to say, that's the best advice I can give anybody. You have to live your life without fear, because fear is just in your head. I've said this on my show before. You know, fear is not real. Fear is something that you create in your head. It doesn't exist except in your brain. It's something that's telling you, what if this happens? What if that happens? If I do this, then what happens? What if I do this? Then that's going to happen, or that could happen. Instead of just doing it, unless it's a rational fear that has something to do with, of course, you know, your safety. I mean, obviously you don't want to go on a date with a mass murderer. You don't want to go diving off of a cliff without a parachute or whatever. You know what I mean? You want to actually use your brain. I'm saying in general, though, if you want to be a lawyer, an actor, an actress, a singer, an architect, a teacher, or whatever it is you want to be. You want to be married. You want to have kids. You want to have family. You want to adopt. You want to have a business. You want to have I don't know, whatever. You want to have tons of money. Whatever it is you want, go for it. Because the sooner you do it, the more likely you're going to achieve it. And I always say, reach for the fucking stars, because even if you don't get the stars, you might get the moon, So at least try, and the higher you reach for something, the more likelihood there is that you'll get something good in the end. I feel that way. I feel I've lived my life that way for the most part. A lot of people in my life have instilled fear in me and told me, you can't do this, you can't do that, because it's not possible, because this is who you are, this is who you are, this is where you come from, whatever the case may be.